For years, I couldn't sleep well. Each morning, I felt more exhausted than the night before. No matter how many hours I spent in bed, I would wake up feeling as though I had spent the entire night solving problems instead of resting. My body was tense. My mind wouldn't turn off. In the mornings, the only thing I wanted was to keep sleeping. I tried everything: herbal infusions, relaxing music, and breathing exercises. I even came to depend on pills just to get some sleep, although that sleep left me groggy the next day. Nothing seemed to work. I felt trapped in a cycle of insomnia, exhaustion, frustration, and even more insomnia. The worst part was the loneliness of those endless nights. While everyone else slept, I stared at the ceiling, hoping sleep would find me. But it never did. Then, one day, almost by accident, I discovered something that changed my nightly routine forever. It wasn't a medicine or a new technique, it was a food. It was so simple, so commonplace, that I was surprised to learn the profound effect it could have on my body and my rest. I added it to my evening with no great expectations, purely out of curiosity. Within a few days, I began to notice something different. I fell asleep faster. I woke up less often. Most importantly, when I opened my eyes in the morning, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: energy. Today, I want to tell you what that food is. But not only that, I want to explain why it works, how you should consume it, what mistakes to avoid, and what other habits you can change to completely transform your nights. Sleeping well shouldn't be a privilege. It should be part of a dignified, fulfilling, and healthy life. And although there's no one-size-fits-all magic solution, perhaps this story will give you the clue you needed to hear. So, stay with me until the end, because sometimes a small change can give us back much more than sleep. It can give us back life. Now, I want to hear from you. How old are you, and where are you listening from? I'd love to get to know you and what brought you here today. I remember exactly how it started. It didn't happen overnight. It was something that crept into my life silently. At first, it took me longer to fall asleep. Then, I would wake up in the middle of the night for no apparent reason, sometimes at 2 o'clock, sometimes at 4 o'clock. I would get up, go to the bathroom, try to fall back asleep, but it was useless. My mind was turned on as if it were daytime. The hardest part wasn't just not sleeping, it was how that followed me during the day. I felt slow and irritable. Anything would set me off. I struggled to concentrate in a conversation. I would forget what I was going to say mid-sentence. My head ached. I felt a strange sadness, as if everything weighed twice as much. The worst part was that no one noticed. On the outside, I looked the same as always, but on the inside, I was fading away. People tend to think that insomnia is just not being able to sleep, but it's not like that. Not being able to sleep doesn't just steal your rest, it robs your entire life. I tried to fix it on my own. First, the usual things: valerian tea, chamomile tea, relaxing music. I forced myself to put down my phone an hour before bed, as the article said. I bought a new pillow, changed the mattress, and even tried meditating. None of it worked. And when something seemed to work, it only did so for a couple of nights. Then, I would return to the same place, tossing and turning in bed as if trapped in a prison without bars. My nights became a kind of war against sleep. I felt defeated even before bedtime. I knew what awaited me: hours of staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything I hadn't done, reliving past errors, worrying about things I couldn't control. In the morning, it was the same as always: a heavy body, a foggy mind, a tired soul. Starting the day became a heroic task. Getting out of bed was like climbing a mountain with chained feet. I wondered if this was simply part of getting older, if sleeping poorly was something I had to accept, like wrinkles or aching joints. But there was a voice inside me that told me no, that sleeping well shouldn't be the exception but a necessity, and that I couldn't resign myself to it. That voice led me to keep searching until I found something that not only helped me sleep better but changed my entire relationship with the night. But before revealing that change, I need you to understand why everything I had tried until then failed. Because the problem wasn't only in what I did in bed, the problem came from much further back. We'll explore that in the next part. For a long time, I thought that sleeping poorly was simply part of growing older, like gray hairs, knee aches, or eyesight that no longer reads small print. But what I didn't know is that the body changes, yes, but sleep doesn't have to disappear with the years. We just have to understand what's happening inside us. From the age of 60, sleep becomes lighter. We wake more easily, sleep fewer hours, and in many cases, we struggle to fall back asleep when something interrupts us. Why does this happen? It all begins with melatonin. This hormone is responsible for telling our body that it's time to sleep. It's naturally released when night falls and the lights go out. But with age, our bodies produce less and less melatonin, and that causes sleep to arrive later or sometimes not at all. Then there's cortisol, another hormone that regulates our energy and stress. In a balanced body, cortisol is low at night and rises in the morning. But if there are worries, stress, or a disorderly routine, cortisol rises when it should fall, and that keeps the body alert when it should be resting. And there's a third factor that almost nobody talks about: body temperature. For deep sleep to occur, the body needs to lower its internal temperature. It's a signal to the brain that says it's time to rest. If our room is too warm, if we have a heavy dinner, or if we're restless, that temperature drop doesn't happen, and deep sleep never arrives. What I discovered over time is that many older adults don't sleep poorly by chance. They sleep poorly because they're unknowingly breaking the conditions the body needs to rest. And one of the most common causes is what we eat at night. For years, my dinner was bread with cheese, a glass of milk, maybe some rice or reheated stew, something quick, without much thought. But what I didn't know was that those types of dinners could be sabotaging my rest. Eating late, eating too much, or eating the wrong foods raises body temperature, keeps the digestive system working for hours, and blocks the natural production of melatonin. The body enters digestion mode, not rest mode. And if on top of that we're watching television with bright lights and worries swirling in the mind, the result is clear. We go to bed tired but not sleepy. Understanding this was the first step to changing my night, because before adding something new, I had to stop making the mistakes that kept me awake. And that's when this food comes in. But I don't want to spoil it. First, in the next part, I want to tell you what types of dinners start to favor sleep. I assure you it's much simpler than it seems. After so many sleepless nights and so many failed attempts, I never imagined that something so simple could make such a big difference. It wasn't a new medicine. It wasn't a miraculous technique. It was only a cup of warm milk with turmeric and a teaspoon of honey. Yes, that's simple. Turmeric, that yellow spice we usually use for cooking rice or stews, has natural anti-inflammatory properties. But what I discovered is that it also helps reduce oxidative stress in the brain, which promotes relaxation and improves sleep quality. Honey, for its part, stimulates the release of serotonin, a key substance for the production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates our sleep cycles. And milk? Well, it turns out that it's rich in tryptophan, another fundamental element in that chain that goes from emotional well-being to deep sleep. It wasn't magic, it was natural chemistry. I remember the first night I tried it. I didn't expect much. I warmed a cup of milk without bringing it to a boil, added half a teaspoon of turmeric powder and a teaspoon of pure honey, stirred it slowly, and drank it about 40 minutes before bed. I wasn't hungry, only curious. I lay down with no expectations, and something curious happened. There were no fireworks, nor did I pass out into sleep as if it were a strong pill. But I felt that my body wasn't fighting rest as it usually did. I felt my muscles relax. I felt the mental noise turn down. I fell asleep. I don't know the exact moment, but I fell asleep and woke up hours later, surprised because I had slept straight through. That hadn't happened in a very long time. The most impressive part was how I felt upon waking, not only rested, but energized. A different kind of energy, calm, sustained, as if at last my body had been able to do what it needed to do during the night, restore itself. And of course, after that night, I repeated the formula, and it worked again. I'm not saying that milk with turmeric and honey is a magical solution, but it was the gateway to a new cycle, to a change, to a more conscious routine, more respectful of my rest. Sleep isn't just about closing your eyes. It's the result of many small decisions. Sometimes a single change can trigger the chain your body needs to learn to sleep well again. And that change can begin with what you choose to put in your cup before saying good night. Sleeping well doesn't begin when you get into bed. It begins an hour before you turn off the light. That was one of the most important truths I learned on this journey. Today, I want to tell you exactly what my nightly routine looks like. It's not complicated. It doesn't require special devices or expensive supplements, just a bit of intention and consistency. First, I have dinner early whenever I can, before 7 o'clock in the evening. My dinners are light, easy to digest: a vegetable soup, one boiled egg with avocado, a bit of fish with a smooth puree. No breads, fried foods, or sugar at night. I learned this the hard way. If you eat too much or poorly at night, your body will be working on digestion, not on sleep. Then, between 8 and 8:30, I prepare my turmeric, milk, and honey drink. It's my signal to the body: rest is coming. I drink it calmly, seated, without my phone, without the television, just me, my warm cup, and the silence. After that, I turn off the bright lights. I only leave a warm, dim light. If I need to check something, I do it with the brightness at its lowest and the background in night mode. Blue light tells the brain that it's still daytime. If the brain thinks it's daytime, it won't release melatonin. Another thing that changed everything: the environment. I keep the bedroom cool, even in winter. An open window or a gentle fan helps. The body needs to lower its internal temperature to enter deep sleep. Sometimes that detail alone makes the difference. And here's a curious habit: a few minutes before lying down, I stretch gently. Nothing complicated: arms overhead, back against the wall, a couple of deep breaths. It's my way of letting go of the day, not to exercise, but so the body knows it can stop holding everything up. When I lie down, I leave no loose ends. If something worries me, I write it in a notebook before bed, as if I left it outside the bedroom. I tell the thought, "I'll deal with you tomorrow." And it works, because insomnia is often just a thought that doesn't want to let go. If one night I struggle to sleep, I don't fight sleep. I lie down, breathe deeply, and simply wait without judgment, without rushing. Because now I know that my body remembers how to sleep. It just needs me not to interrupt it. For those over 70, this pace may seem slow, but believe me, it's powerful. And if you're 60 or even 50, starting this routine today can change how your rest ages. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can always teach your body to sleep again. And if you want to try it, in the next part, I will give you a very practical summary: what to do and what to avoid so that this food works for you, too. If you've tried everything to sleep better but still wake up tired, exhausted, or with a foggy mind, it's very possible the problem lies in what you eat for dinner, and you haven't realized it. For years, I made these mistakes myself, thinking they had nothing to do with insomnia until I eliminated them one by one, and my rest changed forever. First, coffee. Many older adults say, "I can have coffee at night and sleep just fine." But the truth is that caffeine remains in your body for more than 6 hours, even if you don't feel it. You might fall asleep, yes, but that sleep will be shallow. You'll wake up without having truly rested. Second, alcohol. It seems contradictory because a glass of wine or a mild liquor can make you feel more relaxed, but alcohol interferes with the deep stages of sleep, especially REM sleep, the most restorative. It also dehydrates you, interrupts sleep with bathroom trips, and can cause night sweats. Sleeping isn't the same as resting, and alcohol proves it. Third, sugar. Eating something sweet before bed may seem harmless: a cookie, a bit of cake, a very ripe piece of fruit. But sugar spikes your blood glucose, triggering an insulin release that keeps your body active when it should be winding down. Often, nighttime awakenings are due to a sugar crash after a sudden sugar high. Fourth, heavy fats. Having fried meat, cured meats, aged cheeses, or rich stews for dinner forces your digestive system to work for hours. Heavy digestion prevents your body from lowering its internal temperature, which is crucial to entering deep sleep. If you've eaten a lot or very fatty foods, you might fall asleep, but you'll wake up feeling bloated, thirsty, or even with nightmares. I remember one night in particular. It was my grandson's birthday, and as any proud grandpa, I couldn't say no: chocolate cake, empanadas, a bit of red wine. I went to bed happy. But at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was sweating, stomach upset, mind racing. I slept poorly and woke up worse. The next day wasn't just fatigue, it was mental fog, irritability, and the urge to go back to bed mid-morning. That night taught me a great lesson. Since then, I've been much more mindful of what I eat for dinner. Because no matter how well you prepare for sleep, if what goes into your body is a bomb for your system, your sleep will pay the price. I'll never forget how I felt after the first week of truly sleeping well. It wasn't like in the movies where everything changes overnight. It was more as if my body began to remember who it was before insomnia, as if the pieces that had been misaligned for years started snapping back into place. The first big change was morning energy. Before, getting up was a battle. I'd wake up more tired than when I went to bed. I'd walk slowly, shoulders slumped, as if the night had drained what little I had left. But that week, something shifted. I woke up before my alarm, eyes wide open, without that mental fog that had accompanied me for so long. I felt alive. Then I noticed changes in my body. Less stiffness upon rising, less joint pain. The morning walks that once felt like a monumental effort became more fluid. I wasn't running, but I no longer felt like heavy furniture. My legs responded better. My steps felt steadier. But the most surprising change was my mood. I went from feeling irritable and apathetic to being calmer, lighter. I laughed more even without realizing it. My conversations with others transformed. I was more present. I listened more. I regained patience. And at my age, that's pure gold. One afternoon, I found myself rummaging through an old drawer where I kept paintbrushes. I hadn't painted in years. I told myself it was for lack of time, but really it was from mental exhaustion. That week, without overthinking, I grabbed paper and colors and painted as if something inside me had woken up. I also started going for walks with a neighborhood friend again. For months I kept saying, "Another day." Now, I was the one calling him. We chatted, laughed, walked to the park, and sat on the same bench as always, like before. I felt like myself again. Sleeping well isn't just shutting your eyes and resting. Sleeping well is coming back to life. It's wanting to live again. It's regaining the joy of days. It's waking up and thinking not of when you can nap again, but of what beautiful things life has to offer today. Many underestimate the power of sleep. They treat it like a luxury. But it isn't. It's a vital need, just like eating or breathing. Without it, everything shuts down. With it, everything blooms. I know not everyone can or wants to consume milk with turmeric and honey. Maybe you're lactose intolerant. Maybe you simply don't like the taste. Or perhaps you tried it and didn't feel much difference. And that's okay. Everyone's body is different. But the goal remains the same: prepare your system to sleep deeply. So, I want to share with you 3 other natural alternatives that work just as well when consumed correctly. First alternative: oats. Oats aren't just for breakfast. If you have a small portion at night, they can help you sleep.
Why?
Because they're rich in melatonin, the sleep hormone, and contain magnesium, which relaxes muscles and mind. A simple option is a small bowl of warm oats with mashed banana and a pinch of cinnamon. It's not only delicious but also soothes the nervous system and induces sleep. Second alternative: almonds. Almonds are a natural source of tryptophan and magnesium, 2 key sleep aids. They also don't spike your blood sugar dramatically, helping maintain metabolic stability overnight. A practical idea: a small handful of raw, unsalted almonds about 30 minutes before bed, no more. The key is moderation. You can also warm almond milk with a bit of honey and a few drops of natural vanilla extract. Perfect if you can't tolerate cow's milk. Third alternative: ripe banana. Bananas, especially very ripe ones, are excellent before bed. They contain potassium and magnesium, both muscle relaxants, and a bit of natural sugar that helps the brain absorb tryptophan better. You can eat half a banana as a post-dinner snack, or combine it with plain yogurt if you tolerate it well. It also blends nicely into a gentle smoothie with no added sugar and a dash of cinnamon. Speaking of cinnamon, chamomile tea with cinnamon is a wonder to end the day. Chamomile relaxes the nervous system, reduces anxiety, and helps you fall asleep. Cinnamon, meanwhile, regulates blood sugar levels overnight, preventing hypoglycemic awakenings. A cup of this warm infusion, without screens or distractions, taken mindfully, can become the anchor that tells your body it's time to let go. Now, what matters is not only what you eat, but how and when you eat it. You can have the world's best sleep-promoting food, but if you consume it in a hurry, distracted, or right before bed, your body won't use it as it should. The ideal is to enjoy any of these options between 40 and 60 minutes before sleeping in a calm environment with dim lights and no interruptions. Give your body time and space to respond, because it's not about taking something and expecting miracles. It's about creating the conditions for your body to do what it naturally knows how to do: rest. And if you integrate one of these options into your routine with calm and consistency, you'll soon notice the difference. There are lessons you learn late and lessons you learn by force. I didn't understand why I slept so poorly if I did nothing wrong. But I eventually realized it wasn't just what I ate. It was my habits, my everyday routines, those little things that seemed harmless but stole my body's right to rest. I'll tell you honestly what I will never do again before bed, because each of these seemingly small actions was like a brick in a wall between my body and sleep. First, checking my phone. I used to go to bed with my phone in hand, reading news, answering messages, watching videos, sometimes at 11 o'clock, other times at 1 o'clock. Time slipped away without me noticing. But what I didn't know was that the blue light from the screen blocks melatonin production, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. And it wasn't just the light, it was the information overload, the mental noise. I went to bed mentally agitated, worried, tense, and that doesn't switch off by simply closing your eyes. Now, my phone stays outside the bedroom. And when I turn it off, it's like telling my body, now you may rest. Second, having difficult conversations or arguments at night. This was a hard change. Previously, if something bothered me, I wanted to address it. If my wife said something upsetting, I responded. I thought it released tension, but I'd go to sleep with a racing heart and a restless mind. I learned that calm before bed is non-negotiable. If something bothers me, I note it, think on it, and leave it for the next day. Because at night, there's only one priority: protecting my rest. Third, eating from anxiety. This was one of the most silent habits. Sometimes I wasn't hungry, but I was nervous. So I'd grab a piece of bread, a sweet, or some cheese, not out of hunger, but habit, anxiety in disguise. But those bites, though seemingly harmless, signaled my body to work when it should have been relaxing. Once I stopped eating unnecessarily and learned to distinguish real hunger from emotional anxiety, my body thanked me. Because sleeping well isn't just rest, it's release. I tell you this because many of us have normalized poor sleep. Waking up tired, achy, with a foggy mind became routine, so common that we stopped questioning it. Poor sleep became so normal, I didn't realize how poorly I was living. But the body always speaks. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it screams. We just don't listen. Today, my night begins long before I lie down. My sleep routine is a ritual, a way of telling my body, I respect you. I listen to you. I take care of you. No screens, no heavy conversations, no unnecessary food, just soft light, slow breathing, a warm drink, and silence. Because resting well isn't a reward, it's an act of self-care. And at over 80 years old, I decided I deserve to care for myself. Now that we've reached the end of this journey, let's pause and breathe. Not to sleep yet, but to reflect. What have we learned today? First, that sleeping well isn't a luxury. It's a right, a profound need of body and soul. Second, that insomnia isn't always beaten with pills. Often the solution isn't in a pharmacy but in the kitchen. A glass of warm milk with turmeric and honey, a simple ritual, a signal to the body, you may let go, you may rest. And that signal can change everything. Third, that what we do before bed matters as much as what we do during the day. Checking our phone, arguing, or eating from anxiety may seem small, but night after night, they rob us of our most precious things: our energy, our clarity, our mood. Most importantly, we're not alone in this. Thousands of people, perhaps you too, go to bed each night hoping to sleep and wake up more tired than before. So, if you're at that point when your body can't take it anymore, when your mind shuts off but won't rest, I want to say this from my heart: don't give up. Don't accept as normal what's taking years off your life. Don't believe insomnia is your destiny. Sometimes a small change, a drink, a routine, a decision, is enough for the body to remember what it always knew how to do: sleep. Sleep deeply. Sleep without fear. Sleep to heal. And wake up with real energy, not coffee, not willpower. Energy that comes from within, energy from having finally rested. So my final advice is simple. Make your night a sacred space. You don't need perfection, just consistency, just intention. Your body will thank you more than you can imagine. Now, I want to ask you, have you tried anything natural to sleep better? Would you like me to share more simple yet effective foods like these? Tell me in the comments. And also, let me know where you are listening from, and how old are you? I'd really love to know. And if this video helped you, if it made you think, gave you hope, subscribe to the Health Vibes channel and hit the bell. Share this video with someone who needs it, maybe a family member, a friend, someone tired of always being tired. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And above all, thank you for taking care of yourself. See you in the next video.